we could do for them was to put them to sleep. And I think, you know, to my mind as a welfare person, that's where I think this owner has a big chunk on their conscience.
But proving exactly who the owner is a headache for everyone involved in trying to combat this issue.
It is a big challenge for us and the local authorities to actually effectively enforce it, because it's resource intensive for what is at the moment seen as a relatively low priority.
The law says all horses over 6 months old must have a passport, and since 2009 they must also be microchipped, all of which adds to the expense of keeping the horses.
Hello? Yeah, I'm there now. Yeah, I can see what you...
Since I started investigating this issue, the phone hasn't stopped ringing, with concerned people telling us the problem's getting worse and they feel nothing's been done to tackle it.
There are an army of animal lovers on the internet, and they use sites such as Facebook to alert each other about animals in distress and those that have been dumped on private land.
Heather Hooley helped set up one such site, and she's critical of the lack of action by the authorities.
They need to prove the ownership of those horses. They can do it by CCTV, by covert operation. It can be done with minimum manpower. They choose to just mop it up and actually deny that there is an issue. And yet there you are with these large horses in children's play areas, on housing estates, herds of hundreds, hard to find, moved around at night, risking the public. It's a wonder nobody's been killed yet. And maybe, sadly, when that does happen, then they will confront the issues.
Heather sees no future for the stray horses that are all over South Wales.
Where are they going to end up? They will end up as dog food. It has devalued a once sought-after breed. They are now no more than pet food on hooves.
Another member of the Facebook group has been filming the plight of a group of fly-grazing horses in Rhys in the Vale of Glamorgan. It's only a few hundred metres from where the council rounded up dozens of horses last month, including those which ended up at the Red Wing Sanctuary.
These are the ponies that were dumped in Rhys just over 2 weeks ago. They're getting worse every day now. They've had hay twice from the RSPCA, but they're still eating it, even though most horses would turn their noses up at it.
The woman, who doesn't want to be identified, has been concerned about the welfare of a number of the horses here.
Her condition is quite poor now, and she's starting to look quite bony around the pelvis. And see, yeah, this one's coughing quite badly. But this one's been coughing for a few days now, and it's definitely got worse. So he's going to have to be seen to.
The RSPCA did remove the foal that was coughing and a number of other horses from the field in Rhys, but the future for the rest of the animals is uncertain. Why are so many horses, and they nearly always seem to be Welsh Gypsy cobs, being abandoned on private land to fly graze, or are allowed to roam and left to fend for themselves?
Go on, boy.
Al Francis takes in rescued horses at his farm in Pembrokeshire. He works closely with the Gypsy community and says those who trade in horses have been hit hard by the recession.
A year ago, they could sell, having passported and microchipped them, they could sell at a profit at Llanybether Market, Carmarthen Mart, any of the marts. But now they're not worth the petrol to take them there. You can buy a yearling colt of most breeds for 10 guineas, which is a ridiculous situation.
Al Francis says horse breeders need to take a much more responsible attitude to their business.
Until people stop this breeding for breeding's sake, hoping the market's going to be there, this problem will get worse.
We're back with the horse rescuers, and they've arrived in Lavernock in the Vale of Glamorgan.
You know, we have an injured one, it's a foal, and the mother can't be located at the moment.
The police have also been called to assist.
Sometimes some of the owners will turn up and they're not happy about their horses being seized, and we're here to prevent a breach of the peace and basically make sure that everything carries on smoothly.
The young foal is caught and given a quick check-up. And he's very thin, isn't he?
Yeah, I mean, you can feel his spine there.
Yeah, yeah.
So we need to get him back to base.
Tummy as well, isn't he?
Yeah.
He's got quite a swollen tummy, which often indicates worms.
The foal, dubbed Welly by his rescuers, was found to be riddled with worms and lice and was very thin. A major horse breeder, Tom Price, admits to keeping horses here, but says they don't all belong to him, including Welly. Just a few days before we filmed here, people working for Mr. Price turned up at 10 o'clock at night. Mr. Price admits they moved 15 horses from this field. He says he moved the animals at night as it was the only time a contractor was available. He says he wanted to move them as his lease had ended. We understand that arrangement ended 18 months ago. Welly the foal will be taken to the Red Wings charity in Norfolk and hopefully nursed back to good health. He could be rehomed or may have to live at the sanctuary. With so many animal welfare concerns from members of the public and from charities, there's been criticism that more isn't being done to help. Animal welfare is the responsibility of both local authorities and the RSPCA, who last year investigated nearly 2,000 complaints involving horses in Wales, and many had been fly-grazed.
The mere fact that a horse is being fly-grazed is not reason for the RSPCA to pick the animal up. The RSPCA will come in and we will offer advice to horse owners, we will help horse owners, and it's only in a very small minority of cases where we would look at taking further action. But in the vast majority of those 2,000 complaints, there was no need for the RSPCA to step in and take ownership or responsibility for the animal.
One name which keeps cropping up more than any other during my investigations is Tom Price. He runs a large operation based in the Vale of Glamorgan, exporting animals all over the world. His website says he has 1,500 horses. Some experts estimate he now has many more. He's been lauded by some people who describe him as the most respected gypsy horse breeder in the world and the king of gypsy horses. How many horses have you got here at the moment? People who are helping to tackle the horse problem in South Wales have told us about their involvement with Tom Price.
I've known him for a long time. I did try and help earlier in the year when he did actually admit that he had too many horses and he needed to find homes for them, and so I said I'd try and help him. But when he discovered that it was going to be coming through our society, it was just people who would be kind enough to take them on. The very thought that they were going to be sold eventually, that didn't rest well with him, and he got cross and said he wouldn't do it, which was sad.
Remember this driver and his colleague we met earlier? The driver is Tom Price's son, Tony. The two were rounding up horses at the school. Mr. Price admits keeping horses in the area and says his son did assist and take them to a place of safety. But as it turned out, they weren't his horses. We wanted to speak to Mr. Price, but he refused to be interviewed. Instead, he gave us a statement insisting that he is a responsible horse owner. He said he'd become the focus of a number of false and misleading accusations, and he added that he wasn't the only owner of gypsy cobs in the area, but that he does look after his animals well. Mr. Price also denies asking any charity for help. Back in Cardiff, and they believe they are making a difference.
There's always going to be horses in Cardiff. That's you know, the problem is never going to go away. What we seem to have at the moment is a more manageable number of horses in the county.
Horse Warden Lucy and the council were involved in 152 horse seizures in Cardiff last year. And for the second time today, she's going to investigate concerns that horses are on land where they shouldn't be.
This is known as Westfield Park. It backs onto an estate the other side where there's legitimate grazing rights there. However, we obviously have an issue with horses on the park, which we just can't have.
Lucy suspects they've been deliberately placed here, and she plans to take steps to seize the animals. But just then, for the second time today, someone turns up and moves them on.
Essentially what he's done is push the horses to the other end of the park. There's no access point over there. Yes, we have days like this where it is extremely frustrating. However, in the last couple of years we have done significant seizures. You know, the owners of these horses are fully aware of our capabilities when it comes to picking up large numbers of horses and responding to a problem.
So Cardiff believe they are getting to grips with their horse problem. But what about areas experiencing problems almost on a daily basis? A task force has been set up to tackle the huge rise in calls about horses.
Our message is clear to equine owners. Be a responsible owner. If they're on the highway, we'll take them off you. If we take them off you and you want them back, it'll cost you £200.
The police and council's new strategy involves rounding up stray horses, taking them to a secure compound and charging the horses' owners £200 to reclaim them if they can prove ownership.
But already that has run into problems. The stray horses that are rounded up are brought here to this supposedly secure area. But the other night, under cover of darkness, 6 of those animals were removed.
Even the police can't get a handle on this, and these guys are coming in the dead of night and taking their horses back.
No, I don't think it's a case that the police can't get a handle on this. As I say, our issue is about public safety, and wherever there's an issue about public safety, police will go.
Solving the big, expensive gypsy horse problem won't be easy. Just a few days ago, we filmed the authorities trying to round up dozens of horses near Bridgend. But there were so many to remove that horses continued to roam around the main road in Cefn Cribwr and people's gardens. Well, there does seem to be a new conviction to tackle this. There are calls for more leadership.
I believe that the Minister in the Welsh Government needs to act on this, given that animal welfare powers are devolved to the Assembly, and so he has the position to call all the stakeholders together and say, look, what is it you want? Is it you want better coordination? Or is it you want additional powers to make sure that you can respond to the concerns of people about the welfare of animals?
The Welsh Government says it doesn't believe there needs to be any changes to the laws, but others insist the current legislation must be more rigorously enforced.
Our view is that criminal offences have been committed here clearly, from criminal damage to failing to abide by the passport regulations, possibly microchipping. We believe that no one should be above the law.
And tonight, with the problem now at crisis point, there are fears drastic measures could follow.
If you are talking about 1,000 horses suddenly finding themselves without an owner, that one of the solutions would be to have them put down. Very difficult for me as a vet to say. I think we have to face the prospect that that may be one of the only solutions that's open to us.